Greetings, everybody. Never mind the crazy hairdo. It's wash day, and I'm trying a new home treatment for my hair. If it works, I'll tell you about it. Okay? Anyway, I'm back with another story time. And this one is going to be a little longer than the one, I think it was yesterday. And it's going to go in and out. Um, this story time, is going to take me way back to 1984. 1984, I was 17 years old and I was graduating from high school. Now, this story is about the time when my father purchased me two dresses and a red pair of shoes for my graduation. But it's also going to talk to you about what happened to me at my graduation. Now, I was the head girl at my high school. And those of you who are in Jamaica, I'm sure you know what that means. I don't know if it's the same thing in England with head girls, but in Jamaica, one student is picked. I think in North America, it's probably head of student body, and it's pretty much the same thing. So you're selected. I was a prefect throughout high school, so from grade 7 all the way on till grade 10. And when I became head girl, it was very much a shock and surprise to me because the person who is the deputy head girl would naturally become the head girl um, on her final year. But it's another story time when I tell you what happened to that deputy head girl and why she didn't become a head girl. Nevertheless, I was chosen. And in order for you to be chosen to be a head girl at a school, there's a lot of things that are considered. It's not just about academics, but you have to be a very nice girl. And I was a very nice girl back then. When I say very nice girl, that has a lot to do with the reason why that deputy head girl did not become a head girl. Anyway, the next story time we'll talk about that. And this one, however, graduation time came around, and I was very concerned about what I was going to wear to my graduation. Keep in mind, throughout high school, my hair was natural, and I would mostly comb it in two plaits, two pigtail, or braided along the side here. For most of the time when I was in high school, my aunt combed my hair. And in grade 11, sometimes I tried doing it myself by making two braids, two of those French braids at the side there, or the two big plaits. And I had a lot of hair, so those would be some big plaits when I made them. And so this lady in my community said to me, "You are a head girl. You can't go to your graduation with your hair like that." So the day before my graduation, she pressed my hair. Well, I had to hide for her to do that because I didn't get permission from my guardian. But she says, "No, it's graduation day. You have to look pretty." So she pressed my hair and I tied it, with a head scarf just to hide the fact that it was pressed. And my father, I can't remember if he came with the two dresses or if he brought the material and had them made, but nevertheless, I had two dresses for my graduation, a blue dress and a tan colored dress made from the same material, made in the same style. So, my dad brought the two dresses, and again, like I say, I can't quite remember if he brought the dresses or he had them made, someone make them in my community or whatever. But he brought the dresses with the pair of red shoes. Of course, the shoes was so ugly. Back in the day, we used to call those pumps, but it was a very ugly pumps, let me tell you. And when I looked at it, and it's not like these days where you could rock a red shoes with a blue dress because you had a purse. I didn't have a purse. And people didn't dress that way like we would now, because I'm sure you could rock that blue dress with that red shoes today. So of course, when I saw the shoes, the color shoes, I was just, terrified to see the shoes, how ugly it was, And then it didn't even match anything that I was going to wear. So I took it upon myself to approach a woman who had a store in the same community where my school was. Her name was Miss Anna. May she rest in peace. I went to Miss Anna and I said, can you exchange the shoes for me? Because she had a store and she used to sell shoes. So I tried to get her to take that ugly red shoes from me and give me something else, even if it was less value, so it could at least go with one of the dresses that I had. But Miss Anna was so sweet and she said, oh, don't worry about it. I'm sure you're going to be fine. It's okay. And so she didn't take the shoes on my graduation day. And I should describe my dress. My dress was what we call sister. Those of you who are Jamaican or know anything about this dress, sister dress back then, it was a big thing. So you had the one sister, the two sister, or the three sister dress. The longer the dress, more sisters added to it, which are layers. I don't want to go into all of that, but I think my dress was made into a two sister dress. Let me tell you, it was ugly then, and I'm sure if I still had pictures of this thing, it would be uglier now. Nevertheless, I couldn't exchange my shoes. I didn't really like my dress, but I still wore it. Now, at that time, graduation day takes place 2 days. On the first day, it's called a valedictory service where we go to the church, and they preach and they carry on. And as a head girl, that day I would give the vote of thanks when that whole thing is done. And the head boy, who happened to be a friend of mine all the way from grade 7 to grade 11, he was a head boy. Let's call him C. That day, he was going to give the valedictory address, and I would do the vote of thanks. Well, on the Sunday, and it was a Sunday too, on the Sunday, I turned up to the valedictory service in my tan dress and my red shoes. And, we wore, the best part of it is we wore our graduation gown over it. So it was like, yeah, nobody gets to see this ugly dress. And at that time, all my friends, had their hair permed and styled. And I'm sure they have a slight makeup, because at the time you couldn't wear makeup to graduation. Even though you're graduating, you couldn't. But, all the girls look so beautiful. And the lady that pressed my hair before, on the day, she said to come to her so she could style it. And of course, she took it out and she blew it down. And on my way to the graduation, there came a heavy rain. And when you press your hair and water catches it, you know what happens when you're an African girl, So my hair just got huge, just big, because I got wet. Anyway, I went to the graduation that day, valedictory service, sorry. And I gave my vote of thanks at the end of the ceremony. And I looked in the audience, and there was no one from my house. Not my sister, not my aunt, not my uncle, who were my guardians, not my other aunt's friend, who I loved so much. No one came. And I felt a little sad. Because, in Jamaica, your daughter is a head girl. You're going to be so proud. You're going to be at that graduation. You're going to be up front. No one was there for me at my graduation on the Tuesday, at the valedictory service on that Tuesday. And that Sunday, sorry. So I go home, and no one really asked me how it was. And then on the Wednesday, which is the big day now, everybody's going to come out. And I draw for my blue dress and my red shoes. And that lady fixed my hair again. And the same thing happened again. It rained. And of course, by the time I got to the graduation, I was a mess. Anyway, I dried off myself. You sit in your graduation class, and the time came for me to give my speech. And I got up on the stage and I gave my speech, because I had written that speech about 2 months before graduation. So by this time, I know my speech. I could just, say all of it without looking on my paper or anything. I felt so proud of myself. And when I looked in the audience, there was no one. Graduation finished really late. It was dark. And so I was walking home, and we have different parts that we branch off as students. So I walked with the kids as far as I could follow them. But I got to a point where we call this, I don't want to say it because I don't want to say where I come from, but there's a short road and a longer road to get to my house. So when I got to the shorter road, it was dark at night and I was scared. I was thinking if I take the shortcut, I don't know what could happen to me because it has a lot of bushes, a lot of houses are in there, but they're far apart and a lot of bushes. And I was just scared to go through there as a young girl by myself. So I decided to take the longer route. But just as I was about to go around the bend, as I was going to that longer route, I heard someone call my name. And I was walking fast because it was a male's voice. And I was thinking, I'm alone because all my friends are gone the different distance and everyone had their family or their friends with them. Keep in mind, I'm 17. So I hear the person call my name and I start walking really fast because it's a boy, it's a guy. And I don't know what his intention is. And the person called out to me again. And the person said, oh, it's me. And the person said, it's Wayne. So I recognized his voice and I stopped and he said to me, I know graduation is done. It's obvious it's done, but I just came because he was from another parish, or maybe it's the same parish, but he was from another place in the parish, and he was just coming to visit some family friends of ours. And he said when he came and asked for me, they told him that I was at my graduation. And he said, so who is with her at her graduation? And they said, oh, nobody. And he said, really? So he said, I had to come. I know I wasn't there when it's going on, but I had to come to show you some kind of support, some kind of moral support. I was so happy to see him. And it was dark at night and the tears was just running down my face. He couldn't see that I was crying because I didn't really think about it that way. Like, even though I felt sad that nobody came to hear me give my speech and to see me in my ugly, blue dress and red shoes and how much I was rocking it and how proud they would have been of me. Because when I was done giving my speech, a member of parliament was there and he came to me and he said, who are you? And I told him my name and he said, well, I know your name. But he said, you're going places. And my English teacher asked me to give her my speech because he said it was well written and she loved it. So when this guy said this, Wayne said this to me, it just really made me feel good. And he said I had to come and show you support. I was so happy. I've never been so happy to see anybody. Wherever you are, I hope you're still alive, Wayne. Blessings to you and upon you. And we walked the long distance home in silence. We never exchanged a word. I was very shy too, and this is a guy. So he was a friend of a family friend, and he was just coming to visit his friend. But he knew me. We used to talk when he would come around. And so we walked all the way home, about a mile and a half in the dark, not saying anything. I just said thanks to him when I got home. I branched off to my house and he went to his friend's house. And that's how my 2 days of graduation was spent. No one from my family came. No one. Anyway, when I eventually spoke to my sister who had just moved back from the city and asked her if she could come, she said she couldn't come because my aunt said she was too mager, meaning skinny, so she shouldn't come to my graduation. And my mother, she's my mother. That's the mother I know. It never occurred to her that she could come. No one came. And it was hurtful. And I suppressed that until a few days ago, I was talking to my daughter about these stories. We're home. And she works from home now. So the stories are rolling out. And she's like, Mom, I didn't hear that one. I didn't hear that story. I didn't hear this one. So there's a lot of stories she's getting now that she never heard before. But that one was something that I kept. And she said to me, my daughter said, oh, some of these stories I hear 100 times. How come I never heard this one? But I realized that this one was very painful and I suppressed it. I did share it with my partner. And the first time I shared it with him, he was the one who made me realize that there's something very wrong with that picture. But anyway, that's the story time about my graduation, about getting these two ugly dresses, and trying to, talk my way into getting a new one from a wonderful woman who had a store and who just told me that it was okay not to worry about it. On my graduation, by the way, that woman came to me and she said, I told you, you'd be okay. You did wonderfully. Yes. So, for you young ladies out there, whatever it is you're going through in life, just, I know sometimes it hurts, but it's no thing. You'll get over it. And you learn and you grow and it makes you stronger because I can smile about it now. I can. And so will you. Stay blessed, everyone.